What's up? What's up? Y'all come on in. So, guys, check this out. Welcome to the Swag Show. It's Friday morning. Friday is going to be a special day during the off season, doing the Swag Show. Um, every Friday, produced by Not Move Podcast, Swag is going to present to you guys a spotlight. And what I'm doing is I'm spotlighting this young talent that we have on social media. Because believe me when I tell you guys, we have a lot of young talent on social media. Now, Cody is going to be presenting to you guys today the NFL draft. And I'm telling you, you may want to listen to him because this kid has been bothering me about this draft for a minute. I mean, like for a minute. He's been talking about the draft really. It started last year. I mean, he can't help himself because he see the up and coming talent. So he's going to be presenting to you guys today. But before he starts presenting, let me share something with you guys. I spoke with you a couple of days ago about your front office, the NFL's front office. That's what I spoke to you. And I said, your front office should be really busy right now. They should be really getting their shit together because if your front office is shit, your team is going to be shit. The product that they put on the field is going to be shit. I'm sorry, it's just the way it works. However, we think, and I know a lot of people think, that the first day of football is in September. The first day of football is not in September. The very first day of football is the NFL draft. The NFL draft is, look at it like this. The NFL draft is your first day at school. Because to those guys, that's what it seems like. They're coming from college to the NFL. And it's a whole new world. It's a whole new profession. Now they're not a college student anymore, they're a professional football player. That's the first day of football. That's when you see all the maneuvers, all the trades, all the different things that are going on. And a lot of you guys, it's funny because a lot of guys don't even watch the draft. How the hell are you going to know what your team is getting ready to do? They're going to, in the draft, they're going to give you signals on what their plans are for the remainder of the year, what direction they're trying to go. They're showing you right off the bat if they believe in players that are already on your roster. They're showing you that by who they draft. Who they draft is going to determine who they're going to get rid of, who they're replacing. They, they're showing you in the draft what they're going to do. So when you're sitting back and you're talking about this person or complaining about that person, look at the draft. They're going to show you. I was talking to Almighty last night, and me and Almighty had a long talk. And I told Almighty, if you're wondering about Trent McDuffie, watch the draft. Watch the draft because when you see the draft, they're gonna tell you what they're gonna do with McDuffie by who they draft. Like it's so it is so easy to figure out what teams are doing if you watch the NFL draft. I mean, I literally have never missed. I don't think I've ever missed a draft. I know the first draft that I ever watched from the beginning to the end was the year that Jerry Rice was drafted to the 49ers. Because the big deal is should Jerry Rice go before Andre Reed? And that's it's crazy. But I watch every round from the first pick to the last pick. Like I don't miss anything when it comes to the draft because some people turn the draft off after the first round. After the first round, they just okay, well, and I'm gonna be honest with you, the majority of the superstars don't come from the first round. They come from the second, the third, and some even later than that. And if you don't watch it, you have no earthly idea what your team is going to do. So if you what you do is you simply get on get on the TV or go on the internet and you watch who your team drafted. And you're like, okay, well, that's all I need to know. They drafted this guy, they drafted this guy. But they don't really understand who they drafted and why they drafted, who they drafted or why they drafted that person. What are they maneuvering through? What are they going through? What are they trying to do? All right, so you see what I'm saying? What happened? JB Diggs is pleads not guilty, right? See, I get y'all to understand something. When you see that kind of drama, like what's going on in New England, when you see that kind of drama, and y'all think that, oh well, that's not a big deal. It's a big deal because New England should be preparing for the draft now, and instead they're dealing with something in the media. That's why you got to get players who keep their asses out of trouble in some kind of way, or stay out of mess in some kind of way. But they don't do that, and then another team got to deal with that shit too. But I digress. Back to the NFL draft. I want you guys to understand the most important day of the offseason is the NFL draft. It ain't training camp. It ain't spring training. It's the NFL draft. Your draft class that are coming in this year could make or break your team. Now, some of you guys don't understand how it actually works, but when you're drafted in the first round, you automatically make the team. In the second round, you automatically make the team. It starts getting kind of tricky in the third round. In the third round, you're not automatic, you're automatic in, but you're a closer person than the fourth round or the fifth round, sixth and seventh, because believe me, they ain't making it. They got to come and make the team, even though they was drafted. And then you got the undrafted free agents. Now they gotta just basically walk on and make your team. But have y'all noticed that we've getting a rush of late round players who are actually balling out, and we'll be like, who is that player? Who's that player? Now you got to look him up because you didn't watch the drafts. I mean, right? And yes, Tim was saying, especially how the contracts are handled. Like you got to understand now, you got first round players getting guaranteed money. You also got second round players getting guaranteed money. So, and that's good for them. But what it makes it hard for is the third round, fourth round, fifth round, and those guys, they got to come out there and they got to ball out. And you know what? When they're drafted, the later you're drafted, the less reps you're gonna get. So it makes it even harder for those guys. So I want you guys to hear my boy Cody today. He's gonna break down who he believes is going where, who's gonna take who, and I want the panel to come up, and I want y'all to help him. You know what you're doing today. I'm gonna bring up the first batch of people, and then I'm gonna let Cody handle this thing. Hold on, guys. We're doing this right now. We're doing this right now. So just hang tight with me. Dog it. Let me get him a grid. Oh, where's my grid? I want him on this grid. I'm gonna put him on this. I don't like that grid. Hold on, guys. I don't like that grid. I don't know why I don't like the grid. I just don't like the damn grid. So just hang tight with me. Where did it go? Where did it go? Oh, never mind. Never mind. I'm gonna get Cody up here. I'm gonna change this grid, Cody. I don't like the grid. All right,
you
so
good.
just hang
Throw this up really quick.
see if I like that one. I don't like that one either. I'm playing around with grids, guys, so just hang tight. I had my grid that I wanted, man. For some strange reason, I lost it, but I think I got it now. That's my grid. All right, Cody.
Okay.
I'm about to hand you to this thing, and I'm gonna bring people up, and then you and Jules
Yeah.
are gonna take care of this. Hold on, I'm expanding you.
I definitely want Tim. Definitely want JB up here. Who else is here? I would if Kay can come up. I'd like him up here. Joe's and CJ as well. Brianna, if you would like to come up as well. A Train. Yup.
Well, I'm gonna bring up your first batch, and then you and Jules can handle it. But JB, is JB in the queue? Where's JB at?
I think he's here.
I don't know if he wants to be in the queue or anything like that, but I'm gonna leave a spot for him.
Okay. And then we'll just go ahead and.
I see Mr. KC. I see Mr. KC in there, so you guys make sure y'all get him up. Look, I'm gonna turn this thing over to Cody. Cody, do your thing, brother.
All right. So obviously with the draft, we all know who has the number one pick, and I'm sure almost all of us know where that pick is going. I don't need to harp on it too long. The guy first off the board is going to be Fernando Mendoza. The Raiders desperately need a quarterback. He's the best option in the draft. Any objections?
I do. Major exception.
Really?
Except, yeah, I have a major issue with that. And I brought this up, and this is personal preference. So I'm not saying it's not the move they're going to make. But the thing I have with that, Cody, and this is if I was a GM and people can completely disagree with me, and I don't have any problem with that. I think because of the holes that they need to fill,
you traded away.
With it, I would move and get more capital. And I
I'm
get
not,
it that there's more.
Not super mad at that.
Yeah, I mean that's because there's so many holes in the Raiders roster.
I don't hate that at all, Tim. I just think that the Raiders are so desperate with where they are right now that they're gonna stay there and make that pick. I think that's kind of what we're all expecting.
100%. I know that's what's going to happen, and I've been told by numerous people the quarterback, if the guy's available and he's there, you can build those pieces over the next 2 or 3 years. So I've heard that side of the coin. So I'm not arguing that, but I just think with the way this draft is set up for trenches.
Oh, absolutely, I agree completely.
And I'll let you continue. That was my caveat.
Yeah, there are some good especially in the second and third round. You're going to see offensive linemen that will end up making Pro Bowls and All Pros, and defensive linemen as well. Or at least that's what I think. The New York Football Jets. This is another one I think a lot of people have kind of locked in a little bit, but I think this is going to be Arvell Reese out of Ohio State. The best linebacker in the draft. The Jets have, again, a team with a lot of holes to fill. But that's a good one to start with. They need a linebacker. They need one bad. I do see other pieces coming into play for the Jets. You do have, defensive back help you need, interior lineman help you need. I just think that it's really you have holes that are available. It's best available. You also have another pick later in the first, right? So I think you just go get Arvell Reese here. Now's where you can start having conversations. The Cardinals. They badly need offensive line help. Very badly, as a matter of fact. And I think they're going to get it. I know there's two guys that right now I believe are above him, but I think he's the best fit for them. I have them going Francis Malaga here. I know Lomo and Fano are currently above him in prospects, but I just think that Malaga is going to be their guy to go in that system. If they're going to ride with Kyler Murray, I don't think they should, but if they do end up making that decision, or they're even going to rock with Jacoby Brissett for a year, no matter who they go with, I think Malaga is their guy.
Well, Cody, let me ask you a question. This is just,
yeah.
After the first couple of picks, do you think anybody shocks and goes with a Ty Simpson?
No. I don't think you'll see Simpson till middle of the first if he goes in the first. And the team that's probably going to do it I don't want us to do it, but it probably would be us. But yeah, that's just where I have him going. At 4, in my opinion, this is a phenomenal pick because he is a top 5 pick. I have Ruben Bain here. I've seen people putting other players in this spot. Tennessee's another team that kind of could use a few other places, but you're getting possibly the best pure edge rusher in the draft. The only concern for Ruben Bain right now is his wingspan and his arm length. But other than that, technically, he's the best pass rusher, and it's not close, to my opinion. If anybody has any thoughts at any time, by the way, y'all feel free to jump in. But so yeah, that's what's up, Brianna?
You're saying Ruben Bain at what spot?
4 to the Titans.
Titans, yeah.
Okay.
So next up, we have the New York Football Giants. A lot of people have them taking a receiver here. Now, that is a big one. They also kind of need help in the secondary. So just for the sake of it, Caleb Downs is a good pick here. I don't have them taking Caleb Downs. If they were going to go corner, I think it's a reach to take a corner this high. But your best option is probably Masor Delane out of LSU. Jermod McCoy out of Tennessee is also very good. But I have them going on the offensive side of the ball, and I actually have them going at number 9 with Spencer Fano. Arguably the best tackle in the draft. No, Mr. Casey. I think Ruben Bain is by far the best pass rusher in the draft from a technical standpoint. Like I said, the only concerns about Ruben Bain are his wingspan and his arm length. I think from a technical standpoint, Bain is by far the best pass rusher in the draft. But yeah, I have the Giants going O-line.
Now, Cody, let me just throw a caveat to that, to Mr.
Yeah.
Casey's point. That's only, I mean, so he's always been a top tier draft pick, but it's what he's put on film over the past month at these other events and these other situations that have catapulted him into that conversation, because they're seeing a lot more one-on-one. So people are like, well, Bain they were scared, they would projected him late in the first round or middle of the first round. He has drastically moved himself up the draft board himself.
Yeah, I mean,
that was the back and forth, Bailey and Bain. That was the big one.
Yeah, the same thing could be said for David Bailey. David Bailey's put himself in some crazy conversations with what he's put on tape recently.
Zion Young shot himself up a lot of boards. Zion Young by the film he's putting on. So I'll let you continue, but I just had to throw that in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I agree completely. Yeah, I think the Giants. The other big option here is Carnell Tate, right? Carnell Tate, good wide receiver prospect, and as a matter of fact, I have him going at 6 to the Cleveland Browns. I think you give Shador an elite weapon, and hopefully that ends up being Carnell Tate. Jerry Jeudy is very clearly not a wide receiver 1. A-Train, I feel like you can say that confidently yourself.
Facts.
So Jerry Jeudy's not a wide receiver 1. For Cleveland, it's really best available there, and the best available is probably Carnell Tate. Maybe they shock the world and go Jordan Tyson over Carnell Tate. I don't think that will happen, but I think Carnell Tate's the pick there. Now you get to Washington. They have help. They need help on a lot of places. So their team needs are edge, wide receiver, tight end, linebacker, and safety. In my opinion, there isn't necessarily a linebacker worth taking with the 7th overall pick. David Bailey is there for edge. There isn't a tight end worth taking here, but there is a safety. And that's why I had them going with Caleb Downs. Probably the best secondary player in the draft. I think Caleb Downs can come in and make an instant impact for the Washington Commanders at number 7. Again, any objections there?
No, I mean, but the way that they approach the draft is going to give a clear cut on how they're going to approach free agency as well. So everybody keep that in mind. If they go after best position available, you can see like it's going to be the conversations of whoever's available for a DB or whoever's available. Like that's how they're going to really make their push to try and sign one of these guys.
I agree with that. I'm not mad at that at all, actually. Now the Saints pick is one that I've had going back and forth in my head for a very long time. And I know a lot of people have these two interchanged because of Kamara's age, but I think the Saints are very confident in Devin Neal. So I'm just going to rattle these two off really quick. I'm going to go David Bailey at 8 to the Saints. And with the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to be drafting Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame. Really, they need a running game bad, and I think Jeremiah Love can get that.
I like your confidence in that, Cody, but that's never been. If Andy Reid's still as involved as he's always been, he's never pursued. I'm very curious to see how that pick plays out, because do I feel that he's the best running back there? Yes. Do I think he deserves to be in that spot for a draft choice? 100%.
Yeah.
Is Andy Reid going to switch his status quo where he doesn't normally take running backs that early in the draft?
That also kind of brings up a question that I have. Is there anyone who y'all think would try to trade up for Jeremiah Love?
So there are teams, right? Like just looking at the draft order behind Kansas City and New Orleans. You have a team like, I think the Jets are confident in Braylon Allen, but for some reason, if they're not, Minnesota is a team. Are they that confident in Jordan Mason? Carolina, Rico has said he's probably going to test free agency. Really, other than them, though, not really. I think everybody here is pretty
And
good
Joe,
with their running backs.
to that question, they don't have Jeremiah Love. I mean, some people would argue his abilities on how good he is, but they don't have him projected right now like a Saquon when he came out, like a top 2, 3 pick. So it's how much capital do you want to give away for a running back necessity at that point to move
Exactly.
that
I
far?
agree with that. Yeah, I 100% get that. Anybody else with the Jeremiah Love situation? Oh, go ahead, Joe. Sorry. Or Brianna. I don't know who was talking. My bad.
Yes, it's Brie. A lot actually have Jeremiah going to the Saints.
A lot of people have that pick flipped, Brianna. They have the Saints taking him at 8 and have the Chiefs taking David Bailey at 9. Because I know I've heard you and Swag both say, and JB, that they need pass rushing help. So getting a guy like David Bailey, who's, you have people down in the comments right now arguing whether or not he's closer to Ruben Bain than I said he was, who's projected to be the second, if not best, edge rusher in the draft. So I could see that happening. I just personally think that I think the Saints will go Bailey, especially with how Cam Jordan's getting up there and whether or not this is his last ride or not.
And Bree and Cody, to answer your question from my perspective, from an outside perspective as a GM, Kamara is still very heavily on that books, and they are not good in cap space. So
exactly,
if the Saints chose to move up and take him as a running back, Kamara's getting cut ASAP because
Kamara will be released, and you'll see Jeremiah Love and Devin Neal as your 1 and 2 backs from then on. But so continuing on at, I forget what number we're on, but the
10,
Cincinnati
you got
Bengals.
the Bengals.
Yeah. I have them taking Masor Delane.
Exactly who I have them taking too.
I have them taking Masor Delane, the first corner off the board. You need defensive help in Cincinnati bad. Why not get yourself a corner, especially the guy who is probably the best one in the draft? There's the argument with Jermod McCoy. They do also need O-line help. I understand that, Isaac, but it's at that time, I don't think there's a guard worth taking at 10. And tackle, are you going to reach on a guy like Proctor or Frayling? Or I'm going to be honest, I think even Lamu at 10 is a little bit of a reach.
Yeah, I mean, personal opinion, the way the offensive line is broken down in that draft, there's a couple top tier prospects, and then there's a consensus average of what your necessity or what you value off of those next picks. So
yeah,
I don't see a lot of O-linemen going. It always every year surprises me, but I think there'll be a pause on offensive linemen for the first, second round once these guys get hit, and then I see everybody focusing 3, 4, and 5 on gobbling up.
Yeah.
And to your point, the DB room is that much more drastic to where your top tiers are your top tiers, and the other ones, I'm not going to say they're projects, but they're not coming out NFL ready.
Yeah. So, and then I actually have DBs going back to back. I think Miami's another team that needs very heavy help in the DB room. And with that being said, I have them going Jermod McCoy. I think Jermod McCoy is probably the second best DB in the draft. Him and Masor have been talked about back to back.
You're not high on Terrell?
I like Avion, but I just don't think he's better than Masor or Jermod.
Okay.
I just from a technical standpoint, I don't think Avion is better than Masor.
No, I got you. I watched film on him, and then you break it down and you look and you're like, hey, okay, he didn't do well in this game, and then you see some other games and you're like, what the hell? This is a different player.
I think Avion needs to go to a place that has an established corner one and learn.
Agreed. Similar to what the Eagles did when they brought in Mitchell and Coop with big.
Similar to what we did with Joey Porter.
Exactly, bringing in Joe Porter, where you have these vets that can kind of show them preparation and stuff. Yeah, I think that, and to your point, Cody, I think that falls heavy after these 3 or 4 top guys. Like,
yep, I agree.
All of these DBs,
because
they don't take a drop off. But
after Avion, you're really arguing between 3 to 4, that being Sissy, Hood, or Pons. And
I don't like Hood at all.
I'm not a big fan of Colton Hood. I think D'Angelo Pons is the 4th best corner in the draft.
So there's a lot of things for me as a coach and watching the eye test on the sidelines at the Senior Bowl. Hood left me with a sour taste in my mouth, and I wished
can
it
see
was
that.
different. His body language, his involvement with his teammates, his things like that. That all the other scouts and GMs are there watching the same thing, and you almost want to be like, "Yo, dummy, this is your time. Lock in."
So Dallas, I don't know how popular this pick has been or will be. At 12, I have them going linebacker. I have them going with Sonny Styles out of Ohio State. CJ, very interested to hear your input. I feel like Dallas needs a linebacker. It's one of their big needs. But I just think that Styles is a blue chip linebacker. He has all pro potential in my eyes. I liked him a lot out of Ohio State. I think it's a shame that he actually falls to 12. I think he, in terms of prospect value, could be more, but I just feel like a team's going to take a chance, and Dallas is probably the best fit for him right now. Tim, was Sonny Styles at the Senior Bowl?
No, he was not.
Okay.
Yeah, it thinned out with the weather because that was the major snowstorm that hit the country.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who was this is in fact, this is just kind of how it happened. Anybody who was not close and was projected first round, they almost canceled. Like Bain canceled, Bailey canceled. Like all these guys last minute chose not to come because their draft stock is going to move so slightly that it was just too much of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and there's no need to risk something drastic happening if it's only going to move your draft stock up 1 or 2 spots.
Even though it's a difference between $5 million and such, I get it, and that's why a lot of these guys go to the Senior Bowl and to the Shrine Bowl. That's why anybody questions like, why is he going? Because you're also this is anybody who's wondering why they have these events and why these guys are so frequently going, because it does not count as a visit from the Jews that choose to go to these events. They're allowed to have straight one-on-one conversations, not behind closed doors, but they're able to have one-on-one conversations, and it's not frowned upon or negative because the NFL season hasn't started yet.
Yeah. So with the Rams, this is the pick that they got from Atlanta.
It's crazy, huh?
Now I've seen
A train. You're on mute.
Oh yeah. The Jets' first pick, I had Arvell Reese, UConn. I feel like that's probably where they'll go. Arvell Reese.
See, and I'm sorry to go back. I was kind of busy, but the whole thing with and I agree, Tim, with the Andy Reid and the thing. That's what makes it this draft and this pick really kind of hard for me. But I think that Andy has to do something different. Andy, I know he hasn't done it in 20, 30 something fucking years, but you got something that's going on that he's never had in his career. He's at a point in his career that and he's not just his career, it's 53 men's career. I mean, they've been shaking things up in the coaching staff. I personally, I wouldn't be shocked if they did get him, or if they did figure out a way to get a running back that high.
Well, there's other running backs in this draft that are going to be in the second and third.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But the other thing that I've been hearing big out of Kansas City on top of a lot of the Jordan Love talk or Jeremiah Love talk is the McDuffie being traded, and McDuffie being traded before the Chiefs pick at number 9.
Hey, since we're on this subject real quick, I want to drop. Do you think you can bring up No Ma'am UConn? Cody wants to talk about the Jets and Jeremiah Love,
okay? Yeah, go ahead. Jules, can you bring up UConn when you get a chance?
But the Chiefs have been a very high in word of mouth or whatever that they are going to be highly pursuing Breece Hall in the free agency.
So if that happens, you'd have a corner, which means you'd get a shot at probably both Masor Delane and Jermon McCoy.
I think what's going to happen is you're going to see the Chiefs go after a running back in the free agency right before the draft, and they're going to trade McDuffie right before the draft as well.
Okay.
Because we only have 6 picks this year. We don't go into the draft with 6 picks ever, and we're like I said, we're also at a time with that cap. I think We're about to see something happen different. Andy's gonna shake something up.
See, JB, you're on the right track because I sat here thinking about it a few nights ago after we had that talk in your live with Common and Southgate.
Yo,
I wouldn't be surprised to see them do something different, and just hear me out on this because Kareem Hunt's testing free agency, right? And you also he's not.
No. He's gonna come back. That Eric Bieniemy wants him back. Eric Bieniemy wants Kareem. Pacheco maybe. Pacheco.
But hear me out, right? Yeah. And say Pacheco does hit the waters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say you can convince the Jets front office to do a sign and trade in with the Brees Hall, seeing the fact that the Jets have that cap space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And y'all flopping Brees and McDuffie and a couple of, second and fourth round picks. That way y'all can still stay with what y'all want to do at that 9 spot and getting one of those corners. You will have your running back. And I could see the Jets taking Love at 2 if they were to pull that shit off.
Yeah, if they don't get Brees Hall, I don't know Brees Hall. I have a feeling that the Jets are going to take Love. If they don't, I think they're going to go straight defense.
And I said,
I was on mute, but I said, "Whoa, you guys, that's not a hot take, but that's Jeremiah Love second overall is where you guys are leaning."
And
if that situation handles like that.
But see, that's what I was telling JB the other day in his live. I was saying, look, if that were to happen, because if you look at the Jets, right, and we did this over the last, dating back to 2009, the Jets have taken majority defensive players, right?
Yeah.
And they have a horrible need in that secondary, right? So say they do bring back Brees Hall. Don't make no trades, nothing. Bring back Brees Hall. I don't think Arvell Reese would be that pick at 2. I think it would be Caleb Downs. And then I think at 16 is where they would go like Peter Woods or maybe even a Sonny Styles if he makes it that far.
I don't think he makes it that far, but
I see KC doing something different. And like Taz is saying, Jeremiah Love is a fucking, he looks, from what you can see, I could see like a comparison of fucking beach on. You don't pass up on a Jeremiah Love. If he lands in Andy Reid's lap and Andy Reid does not draft him, I'm sorry, bro. I'm gonna try to get a fucking petition to get Andy Reid out of here.
If he doesn't do that, would that be, and y'all don't have a winning season, or
make
the playoffs? Would that be a hot seat?
I think, fuck yeah.
So say they don't do that, right? Say they don't take that as the pick, right? If Jeremiah falls in your lap, and you say week 10, y'all are 3-7, right?
I'm not telling anybody how to talk, but I think I just noticed that Swag might have little man in the vehicle, so I'm just going to suggest language, just an outside perspective, if possible. It looks like he has little man with him. Just making that heads up.
Okay, I didn't realize. Thank you.
No,
would that be an automatic hot seat for Andy Reid?
No, I would move on from him. If they miss on that and they don't get him, and he comes out and shows out and they miss the playoffs and shit and stuff. Yeah, why would you not? To me, that would just be proof right there. You got a problem with running back. Something's wrong. Something's wrong.
But no, I'm seeing what you're saying about the whole thing on what Andy Reid does. But I think there's gonna be movement during free agency, including some trades from them that we didn't see coming because it's time to change that method. I'm
gonna make a suggestion for you. I'm gonna make a suggestion. Are we good? Because you think this could be a tail end after we wrap up Cody's primary focus for running through the first round. Do we want to bookmark this and come back after and let Cody run through the rest of his focus?
Yeah.
No, I was just letting y'all talk, man. Y'all were.
We were,
But,
but it could go on for a while. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
wasn't a
that
negative
could go on for a
conversation.
while.
That could go on for a while.
So we ended. What did we end? We were on the Rams. So the Rams. I know this is a team that needs. I know there's been talks of wide receivers. I know there has been talks of other players. I think with the Havenstein retirement, you go O-line and then you go Caleb Lamo out of Utah at 13. I'm not super high on him. I need to watch more tape before I get a form-fitting opinion. But right now, that's where I have them going.
How old is Higbee?
Higbee's older, but I don't think they go tight end because of the two guys they have behind him. Ferguson and what's his name? The other, Parkinson. I think they have a lot of confidence. I know where you're going with that.
Yeah, you already know where I'm going with that because a lot of the 3 tight end sets they like to run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that.
And Kenya Sadiq's one of those. And is it Tim? Is it safe to say that Kenya Sadiq is kind of like what we could have seen from Pitts and Brock Bowers, somebody that you can use in the slot as well?
Yes.
And that
You want to know? You want to know? You want to know something really funny actually about that? I have them taking Kenyon Sadiq at 29.
Do you think he makes it that far?
The teams that will take him, I'll explain why I don't have them taking him.
I'm muting back up so I can hear this.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see which team he's focused on. But I personal opinion, we can get to that point. I do not see Sadiq making it that long.
I'll explain it, and obviously you guys could definitely give your input. The Ravens, I know, again, this is another one where a receiver has been talked about a lot. Jesse Minter will not draft offense first. He will go with the D-line, and they're going to go with Kendrick Falk out of Auburn. I think Jesse Minter wants to make sure that defense, and the Ravens aren't a team that needs a superstar wide receiver to succeed if the offense that they were running the past few years is what they're going to continue to do. I think they're content with Flowers and Bateman and content with getting a guy in free agency. That being said, I think Kendrick Falk is their pick. They're at 14. This is the one I think I'll get pushback on, and I'm okay with that. At 15, this has been the popular landing spot for Mr. Sadiq. I don't think he goes here. I think they pair up Vita Vea with Peter Woods. And that being the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh. I'm not going to push back. I disagree, but I'm not going to push back. It's your mindset, and I don't see that's not a crazy take, but I disagree. Respectfully disagree, but I see where your mindset is.
I see why the pick is Kenyon Sadiq, right? Cade Otton had the same amount of receiving touchdowns as Tristan Wirfs did last year. Cade Otton has proven that he's definitely on the decline. To get an elite tight end for Baker would be a good idea. I just think that their defense was so bad last year that they have to do something about it.
It's not a bad take, but I mean, you could see those two pick the 14 and 15 being a flip flop too. You see Woods go there and Falk go.
Absolutely, 100%. You can't agree with that.
Like that. That's where I've had those two going the entire time. It's just never thought Pete Woods next to Vita Vea, how that would look with no edge rushers.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to say right here, and we can get to that point. I do not see Sadiq getting past the Panthers. Just saying that.
And I agree.
I thought about that one a lot, but we'll get to that when we get there. The Jets. UConn, I know who you want at this pick. Probably, at least. And it's the guy that I want in Pittsburgh. But I think they're going to go with Jordan Tyson.
Who's the guy you want? Fill me in.
I want Makai, but
see in that I've thought about that being the landing spot for him. Like you've heard me say it before, but for me, that's just what do they do in free agency? And here's why: if with having AD Mitchell, somebody that can play in the slot, I know he's young, he didn't get that push in Indy, right? You also brought in Mechie, who's their gadget guy, who's actually did a little bit of something when he got the ball. It all depends to me on who they grab in free agency. Because if they go free agency and go wide receiver, I don't see Tyson being there. I honestly see the third corner in the draft being taken.
Avion. I have him going at 17 to Detroit.
And that's all dependent on if the Falcons, who have voiced their high concern about trading back into the first to land Avion.
Yeah, to pair him with his brother.
Exactly. So the Tyson take's not bad. I'm more of a Denzel Boston fan in the Jets offense.
Can I give you my concerns on Denzel Boston? I do have him going in the first round. I want to make that abundantly clear.
His hands.
That and his limit as a receiver. Denzel Boston is not like Mekhi Lemon or even a KC Concepcion. Denzel Boston is extremely limited to the outside. KC, Tyson even, and Mekhi can play the X. They can play the Y. They can play the Z. They can go in the slot. They can do gadget things. KC, better than anybody in the draft, can be a gadget player. But Denzel Boston's a lot more limited to the outside, and that's what you saw out of him in Washington. I know because I'm a Maryland fan. We played.
You said it. You said it perfectly. You said it perfectly, right? He's limited to the outside. Yes, could that be worked on? Of course.
Absolutely.
But what was the biggest issue for the New York Jets the last 4 fucking years? Not having that height and that ability to have somebody to play the outside.
I can see that. I don't hate that at all. Also, Tez, yes, Denzel Boston does have a hands problem.
It's because he catches with his body. He doesn't.
He catches with his body. He does not catch with his hands. He has had drops as well. That has been a knock on him. Like I just said it, Avion Terrell at 17 to the Detroit Lions. Again, we just talked about UConn. I know you just said, teams moving up and getting corners and whatnot. Again, I think Avion's the third best corner in the draft. Detroit had a abysmal secondary last year. Any chance they need help there. So I think it's just a logical pick, best available for them, right?
I mean, any chance they take edge opposite of Aiden?
Hutch. I don't hate that pick. I think if they do, I think it's Cassius Howell Cassius Howell out of A&M.
Ooh.
I think the Lions just flat out take best available.
Yeah, I do too. And I think Avion's the best available there. 18 Minnesota. Oh, go ahead, UConn. My bad, brother.
With Detroit, you also got to understand they could have that issue when it comes to wide receiver because say J-Mo doesn't come back.
Yeah, that is very true.
Who do they take that aspect if they go receiver?
Concepcion. If you still have him available.
I think because he'll be there, it's probably Mekhi over KC, but we'll get there.
You think Lemon will be there?
Yeah, I do. I think. Well,
see, but I
have Lemon mocked at 21 to Pittsburgh, but
honestly, I don't like either of them going to Detroit because Amon-Ra already kind of fills the role that
I was going to say with KC. Well, I'll talk about KC when I talk about 21, which is Pittsburgh, a little bit more, but we'll talk about KC there, and we'll go back to the Detroit combo. At 18, I have the Minnesota Vikings going with Caleb Banks out of Florida. Defensive tackle.
You pulled him into the first round, huh?
Yes.
All right.
I think Caleb Banks has a big upside as a defensive tackle.
Oh, he had a down season. Like people that are just learning the name.
Just a down season, but as a prospect, major upside.
Yeah. If you go back to the 2024 season, he would have been a top 10 pick. Had he
100% agree. Now I'm realizing on my draft board I have these two mixed.
And you said Vikings with him?
Yes. I could see other places like they could. To me, there's not a safety there worth drafting, or I could see them replacing Harrison Smith.
When you get
UConn, you got something playing in the background, brother. It's kind of loud. Just give him a heads up.
But when you get to pick 24, I'll explain why with that guy.
Oh, with where you have Caleb Banks going to Cleveland?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can see it.
There's an idea for that one.
Dude, okay. UConn, if they did that, good Lord.
Yeah, that would be disgusting.
Exactly.
At 19 and 20, again, I have these two mixed on my board. I'm just now realizing that. So it is, I have CJ Allen out of Georgia going to Carolina, and Cassius Howell out of A&M to Dallas.
I'm going to hop in and disagree because based on your board and what you have projections right now, and the way we had the conversation with the offensive line with the guys that have already gone and then fallen into a status quo where not any lineman, but the lineman kind of comes down to more direct preference as opposed to film. I don't think Sadiq makes a pass here.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. I'm not horribly mad at that. I'm really not.
I mean, the way we're getting closer, realistically, if Sadiq was to fall to 23 to my Eagles, we don't currently have a tight end on the roster.
I could see that. I currently have you guys mocked to take TJ Parker.
Really?
Yeah.
Even with, okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off. Go ahead. Do your thing.
Did you have Akeem Mesidor going anywhere?
That's another one. Yeah, he's right up there too.
I have him going to 28 at Houston.
See, and I know you're going to get there, but that's who I had. I had Mesidor going to the Browns, but when you look at what he can do and how he would fit that defensive style in Minnesota and the need for edge rusher, Mesidor is not a bad pick at that spot. And then, Cleveland snatching. I mean, that's where I stood on it.
Yeah, I'm not super mad at that. Like I said, this is just my board. Obviously, we can all have discrepancies and whatnot. At 21, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers going Mekhi Lemon. There's been a lot of talk on whether or not he'll even make it there. If he doesn't, I have them going with KC Concepcion.
So you're feeling. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a fact, but you're leaning wide receiver pretty much no matter what with these guys available.
Yes.
Now, if they go and then we fall into that second tier, what do you see as their biggest backup requirement?
What do I see as Pittsburgh's other requirement than
next biggest? So if you see say there's a run, everybody knows every now and then the NFL starts drafting, and then there's a run on a position because people are fearful that player will be gone, or the guy they had in the third round because they averaged 2 tight ends per round, and then all of a sudden 5 tight ends go off the board and then they scramble. If these top receivers, because there's a lot of upside on a lot of receivers as you go down the list on this draft class,
absolutely.
but they all fall into that 3rd, 4th, and 5th conversation. So if there is a push where you guys don't trade up and you're still sitting at that spot with the Steelers, what do you think is your biggest necessity next?
So I do think you have a possibility of, oh man, that's tough. You have a possibility of maybe going secondary, but I don't think there's a guy worth taking there. Secondary entirely depends on whether or not they bring back a guy like Asante Samuel Jr.
Yep.
Is he? I know he's supposed to get a test done at the end of this month to see if he's cleared.
Yeah.
Because of that surgery.
He played. He's good.
Yeah, he played last year.
He came in.
Yeah, he played last year.
Guard is a big one. Sayamalu's probably not coming back.
Really? That's the
they
conversations in Pittsburgh that he doesn't come back. From what you're saying, they think that they let him walk.
I just don't think he does.
Okay.
I just don't think he does.
I mean, he's been one of your anchors for the most part.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's top tier play, but he hasn't been bad at all.
Yeah, I just think that they're willing to move on.
You don't have to give draft. You don't have to give draft selections. I wasn't trying to go that deep.
Yeah, I'm just giving positions. I don't think they have D tackle listed as one of ours. I don't think that is. I just don't, because I think they'll bring back Benton on a cheap deal and pair him with Harmon.
That's my biggest thing is I'm not nervous because it doesn't bother me, but I'm concerned that there could be, I think, of the positions where the drop off, and when I say drop off, I want people to understand, I'm not saying that these guys are dog water or they're bad. I'm just saying that there's X amount of receivers that are labeled as top tier projections.
Yeah.
I'm concerned that there could be a push in the first 15 picks that a couple receivers disappear.
I could very well see. So I think there's going to be a team that gets incredible value out of Chris Bell because of the injury. I think Chris Bell is a first round talent, but he'll probably go in the middle of the second. if you want to say that there's going to be a team that reaches on a guy like Elijah Surratt or a Jacoby Lane or an Omar Cooper, I don't hate that, Tim, because of the run of receivers you could get.
So you'd still, that's the only reason I brought that up is because that's where these guys,
I think
where
Pittsburgh's
the funny thing is
first-round
the
pick
two
is
statements you
receivers.
made, the two statements you made, and they're not false, is you said Pittsburgh could take a flyer move up. Like that's where I'm trying to maybe give people some insight. These guys are flyer guys. Like they could be DK Metcalf. They could be somebody completely different. Like these are the pieces we need to look at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think Pittsburgh is going to draft a receiver in the first round. Whether or not they're going to make a move up to get one or not is completely, or they're going to move, if one of their guys is gone, they move back. You know what I mean?
So what's your biggest concern with Mekhi Lemon, though?
I don't have a ton of them. And that's biased because I'm a big Mekhi Lemon fan. I think Mekhi Lemon is, if I'm looking at raw ability, I think Mekhi Lemon is a better prospect than some people that are mocked ahead of him. I think the only guy that's better than Mekhi Lemon in this draft is Jordan Tyson.
So Mekhi Lemon for me, UConn, the only questions I've had is it's not negative, but attitude.
Yeah.
Attitude and work ethic apparently have been brought up into question.
I get the work ethic part because my thing with Mekhi Lemon is you see in hold on.
Yeah, but when I say like people work ethic, this is at this point, this is what can a conversation or an interview that they have with these players the week of the draft. This could make the difference between you being a third round pick, where people see a high value upside, to becoming a late first or a mid second, like legitimately based just off the interviews.
Yeah. My thing with Mekhi Lemon, and especially if he were to go to the Steelers in that defense, those defenses, is going up against man corners. He struggles.
I think
I could see that.
Yeah, he does. He struggles against man corners.
Yeah, I saw that when I was watching his tape, and I agree. But if there is one thing that Pittsburgh has been known for, it's drafting and developing wide receivers.
No argument there.
Yeah, I mean, there's no argument there, and who he would be able to go against in practice. It's just that's my biggest concern.
I agree with that completely. I mean, iron sharpens iron, right, UConn?
Yeah.
So you're going. Let's just say he's this highly touted receiver, and you put him in practice all rookie camp against a guy like Joey Porter. It's only going to make it better because Porter is a better man coverage corner in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only going to make him better against man. So I think as long as they can do that, yes, Tez, I completely understand that. But you also have to look at what Pittsburgh has right now. Other than DK, they don't have a consistent wide receiver. And even DK wasn't necessarily consistent all year.
Yep.
And I think he would pair good with DK because if he got an issue with man, that's what DK there. He's a deep guy. They're gonna double team him, so he's gonna see more of a zone or off. He's not gonna see too much man-on-man coverage anyway. If it is, it's a second or third corner or slot corner.
And if anybody doesn't know,
I'm sure he can work against those.
Yeah, but if you see the slot corners with the teams like, the Ravens and
UConn, pause for 1 second. Mekhi Lemon's measurables for anybody who doesn't know exactly who he is. He's 5'11", roughly 200 pounds. So that gives you an idea of what kind of receiver he is. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just want to give people that thought to put in their mind if they're not aware of who he is.
And the way Emerson plays the slot, and especially with that Browns defensive line, I'm just saying, like, how Emerson plays man in the slot, I think that's just going to be Mekhi's issue, like dealing with man corners, unless he, like we said, iron sharpening
Emerson's
iron.
the one of the three that would worry me 100%. UConn. I'm not necessarily worried about Nate Wiggins. He just doesn't. I've watched that man get cooked by Calvin Austin. He doesn't worry me. I don't even know who the Bengals slot corner is right now. The Dax Hill.
Yeah.
Dax Hill's a good player. Doesn't worry me too much, but yeah, Emerson's the one that would give me that would give Mekhi the most problems in that division. I 100% agree.
Yeah, it's just It's a case for me. It's a KC Concepcion pick right there.
I don't hate that either, and that's who I have as the fallback if Makai's not there. Just I don't want to harp on the Steelers too long. I know that is my team. I don't know how to say this dude's name. The Penn State guard is who I have going at 22 to the Chargers.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Ione.
Yeah.
Ione.
Yeah, that I mean, I don't disagree with that. Putting him on the same side as.
You mean Fano?
No.
Oh no! Oh man!
The guard. It's like hold on, Aliaba Vega.
Yeah.
Ione.
I don't see that as a bad pick being next to Joe Alt.
I just think that they need offensive line help more than anything. I have TJ Parker at 23 to the Eagles. Now I know you want to talk about this one a little bit more. I know they took Carnell Tate earlier. I've seen this actually flop in a few mocks recently where they go offensive line at like 6 and then go receiver here with like a Denzel Boston or a KC Concepcion. I have them going Caden Proctor at 24.
Who?
The Cleveland Browns.
He moved on.
Yeah.
He's locking in edge at the Eagles.
I don't know. This is where I see them going D tackle.
I don't hate that.
It's,
Could you see a guy like a Caden McDonald here if he's there? If their other guys aren't there that they want.
I mean, you could, but again, for me, that's dependent on who do they have when that, like you said, with the Caden Proctor part, right? That's just dependent on what they do free agency wise for me when it comes to them at that spot. Because
right now, this is my first mock. This is no free agency, so I'm just looking at what team needs and.
Because how many picks do they have in the second? The Browns.
The Cleveland Browns have, I believe. Let me look. The Cleveland Browns have one in the second.
Yeah, I don't know. This one's a rough one because this one for them is highly dependent on what they do free agency because they may need tackle help. They may need D tackle and I know how Fannin is, but you also may need to go and address that receiver aspect too. It's just I don't know. It's really dependent on their free agency.
I don't hate that. At 25 to the Bears, I got Akeem Messidor. I got Akeem Messidor, edge help across from Montez Sweat. You don't like that pick?
That's an iffy one for me, right?
Where do you think the Bears go?
So hold on.
You're good. Tim, what about you? Where do you think the Bears are going? No, we don't have any Bears fans here, but
honestly, I think they look at linebacker.
I don't hate that.
I honestly think their focus will be on linebacker because of the health and the people they had bringing in last year, and because where we're suggesting they could get. I think the Bears will be focusing more on athletic ability, but the green dot perspective. Like anybody doesn't know, green dot is the guy who communicates with the defensive coordinator. Yep. So I think
so are you looking at like an Anthony Hill or a Josiah Trotter?
Yep.
So I'm with Tim on that with the Anthony Hill, but to me, this is where we oddly, because we see it happen. We always see something off the wall, out of the blue.
You think this is an off the wall pick?
Yeah, we see how.
I'm interested. He's got me interested.
So this is where we see this because Swift's getting up there in age, right? And hold on, Cody, hold on.
Oh, please tell me you're talking about who I think you're talking about.
And
please.
we see what they have in Monangai, right?
Ooh.
But what about a pairing behind that O-line and giving Caleb another weapon out of the backfield and somebody that can catch the ball and also can run between the tackles? Would it be not too far-fetched to see them go and somewhat take a reach on Kentron Allen here at this pick?
I was thinking K-Tron too. Oh my God. I love that pick. If they go K-Tron Allen, it's a reach. It's a big reach. But I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all.
Because you see the two, Hippolyte and what's that other young linebacker they got?
Maryland GOAT, by the way, Ruben Hippolyte.
Yeah, I'm with Tim on it, but I just don't see, a linebacker right here. I think this is one of those off-the-wall picks that get people talking in the draft like we have every single year. And especially when you go further into the draft, right? You can still grab another edge person.
And UConn to that point, they could come back in the second round and approach a guy like Rodriguez out of Texas Tech. So your statement's not crazy because that's a guy that there's a guy that if you were able to gobble him up in the second round, I could actually see them moving up in the second round to secure a guy like that.
Jacob Rodriguez, oddly enough, if you look at talent-wise, is probably a first-round talent.
He should be. He's probably the best.
Absolutely,
he's one of the best players on the field. Hands down.
Absolutely should be a first-round talent. Before I move on, the only thing I would challenge you, UConn, is maybe a different back. I see K-Tron Allen. Do you maybe see a Jadarian Price or even a Damon Claiborne?
So, and I was sitting here thinking about it, right? And we see the Bears. They had who was their return man last year?
It's it's a notable name. Used to be a Raven at one point.
Was it Duvernay?
Duvernay.
So with the issues with Duvernay, and we've seen how he's been somewhat limited offensive wise, right? Jadarian Price is not a bad pick here, but that's all dependent on what he does at his fucking pro day.
Yep, I agree. Sucks that K left because I was getting ready to get into the Bills. At 26, I have Casey Concepcion. Again, Tim, you mentioned the run of wide receivers, and he might not be there. And then at 27, I got Denzel Boston to San Fran.
That's not bad back-to-back having somebody like that to those two.
I think those two teams are in
You're
need of
just
receiver help.
You're just seeing the run. You're just seeing the run later in the first.
Yeah. Those two teams need receiver help. Concepcion, especially if they're going to focus the offense way more around Josh Allen, which is what they've done. Concepcion's great for gadget plays. And then on the other side of that, Denzel Boston's a great outside physical receiver, especially with the questions around Ricky Pearsall's help.
Concepcion's blocking ability has been the most impressive thing for me out of this receiver group.
KC, so I wanted to say this earlier when we were talking about KC. His leaps and bounds this year alone as a wide receiver are genuinely insane. Because before this, he was literally nothing but a gadget guy.
Hey,
he came into his own big time as a receiver for me.
Hey, real quick, when y'all, my fault, I meant to do that because I was listening to y'all about the Bears because you said Allen might be a reach at 25. You don't feel like they could just trade back a little bit and still get Allen if they wanted to do that?
Well, K-Tron's currently mocked as a late second, early third pick.
But to that point, K-Tron Allen's one of those wild cards where a team
he could shoot up draft boards.
I got the opportunity to interview him at the Senior Bowl, and tell me when you say a kid has his head on his shoulders, right? If he goes into that interview process, it's he's gonna shock some people. And I'm a Penn State fan, and he even impressed me. The Homer biased aside, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
It's that's what I'm saying. Him and Jadarian Price are two that, depending on their pro day and their interviews, could be sneaky picks that people take in the first round.
There's a good chance a team that needs a running back could reach on an Emmett Johnson too, depending on his pro day.
Yeah.
Out of Nebraska. I liked Emmett Johnson a lot this year.
And where do you see that Tennessee wide receiver dropping? Because I know everybody's big on the Arizona, the Tyson guy. But where do you see that sevenfold, the one from Tennessee?
You're talking about Brazel? I think Brazel will be a middle second pick.
Okay.
I still think he'll get taken over a guy like Omar Cooper, maybe Jacoby Lane. I just don't think so. We have pretty much the 4 round 1 wide receivers are down.
Mm-hmm.
You could maybe see a guy like Elijah Surratt jump into the first if a team trades up. Chris Bell's going to be a 2nd round pick simply because of the injury. He's a 1st round talent, no doubt. He's probably better than Denzel Boston and Casey Concepcion. But that injury he had this year is going to turn a lot of people off. Someone's going to take a chance on him.
And my last thing, bro, and I'm going to mute up after this and let everybody else. What do you rank that cornerback Pons from Indiana out of the cornerbacks?
2nd round pick. 2nd round pick, but he's got a lot of upside. I want Pittsburgh. I would like Pittsburgh to draft him. We don't bring back. I don't think we will, but I would see. I would love for Pittsburgh to draft him if we don't bring back.
So with that pick right there, and you're talking about KC Concepcion and somebody like that, and the possibility of the likes of a Surratt, an Omar Cooper, is it not too far fetched to say that you don't see them go like, I think Brazil would be one that you would shockingly see before those two. And this is just me. This is just my opinion, right? You could see a Surratt or a Omar Cooper be that Raiders' first pick in the 2nd round.
I could see that 100%.
Real quick. Let me pause for a station break. Look, guys, this show is being brought to you by Not Move Podcast. This is the Swaghollic Morning Show. We're talking about the draft this morning. I want you guys to understand that every Friday we're going to be spotlighting. By the way, Jones, you need to get with me because you and Brianna are doing the show next Friday. I don't want to hear no complaints about it. I mean, just letting you know. Hello to everybody. Now I'm going to let you guys continue to rock on.
Yeah. So I 100% could see that. UConn, like 1,000,000%, I could see a guy like Brazel jump up there. I'm going to be honest. I could see Skylar Bell jumping up draft boards at a UConn. I really liked what I saw out of his tape. Zach Branch is a guy that might test well and jump up some boards.
The dude out of UConn, that's not a horrible, like I said, like we see it every year. There's some off the wall picks. I mean, depending on his pro day, depending on his interview, that's another one that you could see be taken there.
Yeah, I 100%. So I just want to move on. Joe's, we'll get to your Texans. I have y'all going interior D lineman with Caden McDonald out of Ohio State.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, to be honest with you, we're probably going to trade back knowing Nick because, we do best available too. But the thing is, like, our best available is totally different from Nick's best available because it's swarm over everything. So we'll see.
Eventually, hold on, Cody. Eventually, they're going to have to do something about the damn offense, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know knowing them, they're gonna pick a D lineman first and then O line because I don't know how high they project the kid with the mullet to go, but it looks like we're looking at one of the Iowa linemen, and so I don't think they're going that high.
I've also heard the Texans at 38 in the 2nd round are very high on EMW is what they call him, but it's Emmanuel McNeil Warren, the safety out of Toledo. They're very high on him.
Yes, bro, and I think they like Max, the lineman that's a little bit less experienced, but he gives me swarm.
That safety out of Toledo is my wife's brother.
Oh, cool.
He played at Toledo, and we went and watched a few games of it. And
I haven't watched much tape on him, but I heard he's nice.
I mean, we're probably gonna get him because we need safety depth.
He's an easy comparison for some, especially if you can get him in the 2nd round. To me, he's like, if you remember back, I don't know how long you've been watching football, but Bernard Pollard. He is that one that can sit there and be that physical
Bernard
presence
Pollard from the Chiefs.
From
by the Chiefs.
I still say Titans.
I don't want to get that one in there real quick, JB.
I know when he was drafted.
Bernard Pollard is also the one that dink Tom Brady's little kneecap and took him out for those.
look, I know this. I know who he was drafted by. This, like he went to school literally at the high school 2 blocks away from me. I know who he is. But I'm just saying, I like saying the Titans because it pisses Chiefs fans off. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But no,
okay,
like
I was motivated. All right.
love you, JD. But no, that is, I could see that for the Texans, and that just with that secondary, that with Lassiter, Petrie, and Stingley, that's nasty.
Yeah, I think that's a really good pick for them.
So you're saying that the Houston Texans are going to go in the draft, and their first pick is going to pick a defensive player.
Yep,
So,
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: if Houston don't understand, eventually Houston has to understand they have a strong ass defense. If they continue to do this, they're going to be so one-sided. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, they that's the one thing that with how Petrie played, and the fact that safety from Toledo is not just one that you can roll in the box. It's somebody you can have playing over top.
Yep.
It wouldn't be too far-fetched to see Houston do something like that and take him to complete that entire defense.
And to build up off your point, Swag, our GM already pissed people off last year for the exact same thing because, everybody thought we was going to go straight O-line in the draft. And, of course, we drafted 2 receivers, so everybody was like, what the fuck? And, like, our GM himself said, like, yeah, no, we don't draft for need. We draft best players available. So,
so best player, you might not have no good offensive lineman that late in the first round, though. That's what the Chiefs faced the last few years, trying to find an offensive tackle. Because that's the many high-rated guys
gonna piss you
late.
Off. Currently projected, the Texans are only drafting 2 offensive players, and they're both in the 4th round. Sam Heck, they're going to go with an interior O-lineman out of Kansas State. Haven't watched much of his tape. I have watched this dude's tape a little bit. Demetrius Crownover, tackle out of A&M.
Yep.
Their first 3 picks are projected to be the 2 that I've already said. And then in the 3rd round, they're projected to go with Deontay Lawson out of Bama, which I actually like him a lot.
But I mean, it would.
Hold on. I don't know if you guys have covered this yet, and I've been listening to the show. But sometimes I'm in and I'm out. I gotta ask a question. Have we covered the New York Jets and those 13 picks they have?
So we've talked about we've talked about their first 2. I have Arvell Reese going at 2, the best linebacker in the draft, in my opinion. And then I have them going, let's go back up. I have them going with Jordan Tyson at 16, who's probably, in my opinion, if we're looking at all-around skill, the best wide receiver in the draft.
And I'm thinking about, okay, so if you do that, Cody, I'm just thinking out loud. You can build a damn team with 13 picks.
Yeah.
You can build a team with 13 picks.
And see, I'm a Jets fan, and
yeah, but see, out of those, you also got to remember, out of those 13 picks, going by percentages, out of those 13 picks, only 5 or 6 of them are going to be starters, going by percentage. Now you could have a crazy draft and have some Chuck Noll, and and have some Chuck Noll type of luck and draft 9 Hall of Famers in one draft. I mean, heck, anything is possible. But going by the averages, on the average, a team has 7 picks. Out of those 7 picks, only 2 of them picks are starters on the average. So you got 13 picks, and don't get me wrong, because Pittsburgh has 12. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, we got 12 picks this year. But so my whole thing is, like I said, going by the averages of those 12 and 13 picks, I'm looking at only 4 or 5 of them being starters. Going by the average.
I'm just hoping that, man, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm not a Jets fan. I'm just tired of seeing the Jets lose. Like, if you want to say one of my biggest frustrations in watching football is watching teams that lose all the time not get better. That just drives me up the damn wall. I mean, so that's why I brought it up. I mean,
I'm a Jets fan, and I see what you're saying. Don't get me wrong, but I don't remember. I think it's just one pick in the second.
Let me look, and I'll tell you who they're. Yeah, so they have the first pick. No, they have two.
Right.
They have 33 and 44. Currently mocked in those spots among the popular vote is Colton Hood.
I know you are.
Colton Hood, and then 44. That's the pick they got from the Giants. That's Christian Miller out of Georgia, D lineman.
So, to me, and that's where like what you said earlier when it comes to them taking Arvell Reese, right? There, I mean, say they do take Arvell Reese and say they go defense like Pete Woods or say a Sonny Styles falls or go Avian Terrell at that second pick in the first round. I think you might see them grab, depending on free agency, you might see them grab somebody like Elijah Surratt and then turn around in that next pick, get somebody, depending on if they got rid of Breece Hall, somebody like Kentron Allen or Jadarian Price.
I don't hate that. I definitely don't.
Hey, so maybe I missed this because I don't know very much about who's coming out of the draft. I don't start watching players as they show me they can be in the NFL. But I gotta ask, is one of those picks a quarterback?
No. Hold on, I'll scroll through their picks.
And I don't see them taking a quarterback in the draft this year.
They in the third round. Do y'all have a third rounder? So their third rounder is currently in Philly. In the fourth, they're mocked to take Nussmeier.
And see if
y'all talking about the Jets, right?
Yeah, and if he falls there, I would not be upset with them taking Nussmeier.
He'll be there. He'll be there in 4.
I think the Saints are going to find a way to get Nussmeier
because of his dad.
That's not bad either.
It's not. I mean, there's going to be other quarterbacks there. You have guys like, I hate saying his name, but you have a guy like Drew Aller. Klubnik will probably be there as well.
Yeah, but I mean, and this is, I said this, I think it was to JB it was to Common, because we were in New England, we were talking about that Jets scenario at quarterback. I think this is the year with those 4 picks early in the first and in the second, you address your 2 key pieces on defense that you need, i.e. in the secondary and that D line. And then in that second round, you can sit there and address your receiver aspect, that running back, if say, Breece Hall leaves, because
I don't hate that.
You would break it up. Well, see, my whole thing is this, right? And I like everything. I like everything that was said today.
My bad. I got a phone call.
I appreciate you, Cody. But
of course,
I just want everybody in the audience to also understand. A lot of y'all, I see a lot of y'all comments disagreeing and things like that. This is only Cody's projections. All right, this is what Cody's projections are.
Yeah, this is before free agency.
Rob was saying, if you didn't hear what he said earlier, this is his projections before free agency, because a lot of picks are going to change for free agency and the day of the draft. So we know this. So this is just his projections.
For instance, right? Like I have I'll use the Bills. The Bills as an example. If the Bills went out and traded for AJ Brown in a week, there's no need for them to pick a guy like Casey Concepcion. So that pick might go somewhere else.
But I was just answering Swag's question with the Jets picks, and the fact that he stated like you can build your team, and we've seen teams do that. It's
Absolutely.
Just with the Jets' history on picks, and the fact that you can, Justin Fields is not that guy, right? But what you've seen out of Brady Cook the last 3 games, having one of them be a bridge another year, I hate seeing them lose too. But if they don't take a quarterback at all in this draft, addressing the positional skill positions that you need.
Are you saying like you would rather see them build a team in this draft and get all the positions right, and then next year addressing a quarterback or, you know what I mean, something like that.
Kind of what I suggested if they didn't have the first overall pick with the Raiders.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm saying when it comes to the Jets. Like, that's what
I don't hate that.
Because
if the Raiders are smart, that's what they would do. Because drafting Mendoza, now, like I said, it all depends on free agency and things like that.
You missed my spiel, Coach. I went through that whole thing. 100% agree.
Drafting Mendoza and you ain't got no line to protect him or nothing like that is just ridiculous.
I agree.
That's just not smart football.
That's why I said, like, we had that conversation already, Common. Like, the Jets, what I seen out of Brady Cook the last 3 games, that is somebody that could bridge. Yeah, he might not get you that many wins, maybe 4, maybe 5. You'll still have a top 10 pick. And the quarterbacks coming out next year is somewhere that you can make that splash, and you have the weapons already there on rookie contracts to give you that young, talented team.
Okay. Now here's the thing, UConn. Here's the one thing, UConn, because when I brought this up at the Senior Bowl with some guys who know their shit, they said this really depends on what the Raiders want to do. And they said if they want their quarterback, and this is the style of offense they're going with, Mendoza is picked, 100%. Mm-hmm. Because they can sit him next year, bring in a journeyman, and then attempt to build with free agency in the draft next year. They don't have to start him this year. They don't have to start the new penny. The shiny new penny. They don't have to throw him out on the field like other teams have. And that's a huge focal point on how this team, if they are completely revamping how they're doing things with new ownership and everything like that, we are going to find out this year.
Just to give you a little perspective on what we're talking about as far as the Raiders line. Right?
Also, it depends on what they get from Crosby. They trade Crosby too, though.
Yeah, that was going to be a huge factor. But just to give you a perspective on the Raiders' offensive line, Ashton Jeanty rushed for 1,200 yards this season. 1,000 of those yards were after contact.
Yeah,
that is fucking disgusting.
That's insane.
So Common to what you're saying, right? When it comes to that,
go ahead.
And this is just like it. Say the Raiders, go that route. Say they go Fernando, or say they make, and this is where I see the Raiders and the Jets being front runners for this. Say they make that reach and get the likes of Kyler Murray, and I know how people stand with Kyler. I know the Jets, obviously, you do that. You get your weapons at your skill positions through the draft, and you have a quarterback. But say the Raiders do that, who do the Raiders turn around and take at 1?
I think they would accrue capital. I don't think they'd be at 1 anymore. I think they would look for a team that either really wants Caleb Downs or really wants the top defensive player on the board or wide receiver on the board. Somebody that really keys in, you know what I mean, that needs that missing piece to get them over the next level. The Raiders would move back, and then that opens up doors for opportunities. Because if that turned into a pick swap this year, a second this year, and a first-round pick next year, the Raiders would be silly not to address that or even contemplate that.
Like I said earlier, we've seen
anybody heard anything about Murray going to? Has anything heard about Murray going to Minnesota? Is out of curiosity?
No,
I haven't heard rumors. I heard that there's talk. Like
the main one I've heard is the Jets, and that is the main focal thing I've heard is him going to the Jets with how much they could take care of with that cap space.
So can I ask you a question? If let's say what y'all said with 10, which I was saying real quick. Let's say the Raiders did trade their number 1 and they swapped with the Jets, and then they probably swap that 2 and get some more picks to build up the line, stuff like that you was saying, Coach. Do you think they probably go after like a Ty Simpson or something like that in the draft, like late first round or
nah? I don't think. I think Ty Simpson is like a late second pick. I could see Ty landing maybe to a Rams, or even, God forbid, it be like Pittsburgh in the second or third. A team like that.
Yep. And to what
that's where you see Ty Simpson going
and
probably.
To what you're saying, and say the Raiders do land that in trade, I still think that would put Woody on a hot seat if he were to trade capital for that pick. Unless he pulls off having the 1 and 2 pick, I think that man would be on a hot seat.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for a team like that is you would assume they'd move back later in the first round and then pick up a second or a third this year. Some of these quarterback classes, to that point, you're then not approaching the direction of I'm taking one of the top QBs on the board. Then you're taking a Sawyer out of North Dakota State. Then you're looking at you're looking at the quarterback from Baylor. You're looking at guys where they see big upside. You know what I mean? They see probability. But if you're looking to build, you're not going to turn around and smoke that draft pick that you just moved back on.
Really quick, I did want to rattle off the last 4 picks that I didn't get to that I had in the first. I'll just rattle them off. You guys can let me know how you're feeling on them. At 29, I had the Rams going with Anthony Hill out of Texas. At 30 to Denver is where I had Sadiq landing. At 31, I had Zion Lee to the New England Patriots. And finally, at 32, I had Brandon Sissy to the Seahawks.
I think Denver goes after one of those wide receiver pushes you were discussing.
I don't hate that.
Yeah.
And then there's plenty of second-round talent, right? Colton Hood, big one out of Tennessee. I know somebody up here said they weren't very high on him, but that was me.
That was me from the Senior Bowl. That was who one of the players I brought up with, and Coach Common and Swag can attest to this from watching. Body language, approach to the physical, like it's the stuff that I watch when they're not in the game.
Agreed.
And if you're going to bring yourself up the draft boards, those are the things that I'm focusing on because we already know where you are as a player. We already know where you're at on film. It's how you communicate in the interviews and how you show these scouts and these coaches and managers who are at these events like the Shrine Bowl or the Senior Bowl, what you're doing on the sidelines. 2 players that really stood out to me that I didn't like their body language at the Senior Bowl was Diego Pavia and Colton Hood.
Isaac, I think a team's going to reach on Cassius Howell and take him over like a Zion Lee or something like that. I think a team's going to reach on Cassius Howell just because of his measurables.
I was listening to you guys early on the show, and I have to bring this up. And Cody, you was talking about the Chiefs may draft the kid out of, I think, Notre Dame.
Yeah, Jeremiah Love.
All right, so that would be a first. I mean, that would.
Did you hear me playing devil's advocate, Swag?
Right. I mean, like that would. I'm just telling you right now. Here's why I say that would be a first, but I know that that's not the Chiefs' MO. That is not their MO. But man, what if they would have? What if they did that?
It would be so the popular pick for you guys right now is David Bailey. Is an edge rusher out of Texas.
Larry Johnson at Penn State was number 1.
Yeah, I remember Larry Johnson. I remember Larry Johnson.
David Bailey's very good, Swag, and I know you've said it a few times up here when we've had this conversation that you guys need edge help. And I'm not I don't hate the David Bailey pick. I just think that the Saints go David Bailey and you guys go Jeremiah Love. But a lot of people have that interchange. The Saints going.
Yeah, Swag, to your point, I could see them drafting Bailey, being confident to be able to what they want to do contractually with Chris Jones, and then still picking up a high caliber running back in the second, third, or fourth.
Yeah, there are.
With the value, how money and they do with the cap, that's not enough value to get a running back that high. You can get. It's the price of a free agent. We need defensive linemen, regardless. If you get a free agent, it's going to cost $15 million for a backup, for an average defensive end or a defensive tackle. They're expensive. The top running back, Walker or Hall, going to only make like $11, $12 million.
I still stand on mine, Swag. I still stand on mine. I think Tyler Algier will be a Kansas City Chief next season.
I think they're gonna go with somebody like that or Rashad White. They're gonna get like a running back, maybe the dude from Rico Dotto. We're not gonna spend too much money on running back.
I'm just one of my Chiefs fans though. Y'all know I know that. I was just playing devil's advocate. I was
just
asking,
I know. That's where I have y'all going. Another one specifically, I know Tim, I think he was at the Senior Bowl. Coach, I don't know how much tape you've watched and whatnot. How do y'all feel about Emmanuel Pregnon? I know he shot up draft boards in the past few weeks. He's mocked as an early second, potentially late first pick.
And yo, a lot of these guys I don't know by name. I know by their position.
Interior O lineman. He's a dude out of Oregon.
Okay, all right. Now I know what you're talking about.
Is in guard?
Yes, he's a guard. He's 6'5", 325. He's a beast.
Where's Joe's at? Houston needs to be they should be diving over people to get him. Like, I mean, for real.
Emmanuel Pregnon. He shot up. He's currently mocked to Arizona at the 2nd overall pick in the 2nd round. But he's a beast.
But see, now here's the thing. I can definitely see that because the 2nd and 3rd round is when all the linemen are really going to start disappearing.
Yep. You're going to see a ton of linemen go in the 2nd round, I think. With linemen this year, Tim said it earlier best, in my opinion. There's 3 or 4 guys that are top of the line talents. And then everybody else is kind of a raw prospect.
Yeah, everybody else falls in that category where like Jennings Dunker. I'm huge on him.
Yeah.
He's currently playing tackle at Iowa.
Yep.
But because of his arm length, this is where I'm saying where you're not sure where he's going to be taking him because of some of his measurables. They're talking about taking him from tackle to interior, which makes him not a lock at a position, which is why some players, you know what I mean, you might see him filter around in the draft. Yanks, you're very back.
Hey, Yanks, what's going on, man? Yanks, what's going on?
I don't know if we know you muted.
Hey, sorry about that.
You got some stuff playing in the background.
Yanks, you ever been on the show?
I have not, but I'm a frequent viewer of these live chats when it pertains to sports, and I'm here to talk draft, free agency, and any miscellaneous topics.
I feel you on that. I just wanted to let you know that we don't use the N word here at all. But other than that, you good. You free to go, man. You good to go, brother.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Not good.
So Cody,
I like to get people perspective on different things. But that offensive lineman, like you guys are saying, offensive lineman are going to dominate the 2nd round. Like I said, Houston, New England, a lot of these teams need to be just diving over people to get these offensive linemen.
Hey, listen, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised at Swag. I called you about it during the Super Bowl. Do not be surprised if New England goes out there and tackle in the later rounds and moves Campbell's ass into interior guard. I'm trying to
absolutely.
I'm telling you, y'all better look for that. Y'all better look for that.
What were you gonna say, Tim?
Keep to his word, because Vrabel was saying how they're not gonna move him.
Yeah,
coaches say a lot of things.
I was gonna say I think that was definitely to build the kid's confidence. Not saying by any means they're totally gonna move on from him, but it's a catch-22. And I'm sorry to interrupt y'all, but it's a tough situation because we all know 14 pressures, whether you're a rookie, veteran, hurt, it's unacceptable at the biggest stage. But ultimately, it's also a little bit of an overreaction too, because you take into account the injury that he had week 14, it would be a little overreaction to bench him or move him to guard. So I'd personally sign a swing tackle, kind of like KC did with Jalen Moore last year. Pay a $9 million backup tackle who can play a multitude of positions on the offensive line, has experience doing so. But I want to hear what you guys think because it's tough because they have the Patriots have a long window to win with maybe on a rookie contract. But at the same time, if you look at that offense too, a lot of those guys are going to be there next year. So it could be a makeshift to a whole new personnel. So I'd imagine they kick him to guard and take that Jalen Moore route I just mentioned. What do y'all think?
It's definitely
on the table because it's not just the performance in the bowl is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the overall performance on the season as far as his footwork, his hand placement is fucking abysmal.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean,
his hand placement is fucking abysmal. But a big part of his hand placement being abysmal is that Campbell has a short wingspan.
Yeah.
Right. So Campbell has he's a short wingspan. So his footwork needs to be fucking impeccable because of his short wingspan.
Now, Coach,
means that he's got to beat his man to the spot.
caveat to that, do you think that they give him another season? I think they give him another season because of the MCL.
Have to.
At tackle.
I think so too.
I mean, listen. I mean, you can't. Listen, you can't do that unless I can find me a 6'6", 78 wingspan dude in the second or third round. That's what I'm saying.
So I don't know.
It's too early to bail on him already, man. You know, you got this is his first year, this is first off season. You got to give him another year. You know, say one more year. But a short lease though next year. But you still got to give him another year to develop and get an off season.
It's a very tough situation to be in if you're Elliot Wolf, the GM.
Tim,
very tough.
He got drafted too high to bail out this fast.
Lineman position is one of those positions where, yes, some guys come out the gate, they're able to handle it, and other guys need development. As we saw from this year, Will Campbell is a player that needs development. So yeah, I can definitely see him giving an off season and another shot at tackle. But like my man said, a very short leash. I'm talking about only 1 or 2 links.
I have an idea. I don't know. I want to hear your guys' 2 cents on this. I got this idea. So you guys know how Morgan Moses is like an experienced veteran tackle, and let's be real, he's damn good. He I don't know if y'all remember, he played left tackle at University of Virginia, like his college years.
Yes, he did.
And a few times with the Redskins when Trent had the testicular cancer, if I'm not mistaken, they kicked Moses to left tackle. I'm unsure how sustainable that is, but I'll tell you right now, left, right, upside down tackle, like Moses would have done a much better job protecting that blind side. So it begs this question. I'm a Giants fan. I don't see us re-signing Jermaine Illuminor. He only had 3 pass blocking pressures sacks all year. I would maybe sign an emergency right tackle in case, a depth piece at right tackle. And say the events come week 4, he's just stinking it up, Campbell. You kick Moses to left tackle, and right tackle, you just, have a plug-in $5 million annual guy in
I don't
Illuminor.
hate that.
Wouldn't hate that at all.
Tim, by the way, I just realized my second round and beyond is cooked because of what just came out this morning.
What came out?
What came out this morning?
I had the Colts at 78 going Trinidad Chambliss, but he just got granted another year.
He's playing another year.
Yep, he just got granted another year at Ole Miss.
It's a blessing for both sides. He needs another year to develop, having played only D2 for such a long time. I love him, though.
Tim,
now, my thing is, though, y'all don't think this will probably be like the highest his draft stock would be?
No, he can.
You got a good point.
It'll either be so Trinidad's draft stock is either going to go through the roof this coming year, or it's going to plummet to where he's like a 4th round.
It reminds me exactly of Cardale Jones. Y'all remember him at Ohio State? Remember
Yes.
he almost stayed, and he was supposed to be a 1st, 2nd rounder. Didn't enter the draft, and next thing you know, he's a day 3 pick for the Chargers. Go while your stock is high. I bet Drew Aller wishes he went last year after losing the semifinal.
Drew Aller, Cade Klubnik, a lot of them probably.
I bet that it's strike while the iron's hot. You know what I mean? So
Exactly, and there's a lot more QB talents coming out next year. That's why I assumed he was just going to go out.
You make a great point, man. You make a great point.
I think Mendoza turned down $25 million to return to Indiana. I'm sorry, but Mendoza turned down $25 million to return another year to Indiana. Mark Cuban was going to give him $25 million to come back to Indiana one more year. He declined that. He's going to go. That's why I think the Raiders gave him personal. I think the Raiders gave him like a verbal thing saying you're going number 1 or something. Who turns down $25
Absolutely.
million?
He's going number 1.
Really quick, y'all. What's up, Tim?
So Pregnon definitely affected his draft capital as far as moving up. I see him being 2nd round. So by him not going to the Senior Bowl, being last minute, that's where a lot of teams were expecting to see him, because the thing is, the people that don't understand about the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl, it's not necessarily to say, hey, is this guy in shape? What it is all of the coaching staffs for these events are NFL coaches.
Yep.
All NFL coaches. So you're able to see firsthand how they adapt to NFL coaches. And also it takes them out of the system that they might have ran for the past 4 years, but it wasn't perfectly built to their strengths. So when they go out to these things, they line them up at a different technique. They line them up at different viewpoints. And that's where the biggest thing. So Pregnon definitely affected his draft. I don't think he's not going to go down. He's not bumping out of the second round.
I don't think he goes down. I just think that he was a guy that if he had shown out, especially at a Senior Bowl, had a chance at a later 1st rounder.
He could have turned himself into a top 20 pick.
Yeah, I thought so too. But now where he's at, he's probably going to be early 2nd, maybe middle 2nd.
Right.
Yeah,
And while we're
first or
talking about
second.
picks, Coach, I'm interested in you from one Steeler fan to another. How do you feel about us going Harold Perkins, a linebacker out of LSU, potentially in the 3rd round?
Great for a value at 3rd round.
Well, he'll fall there. He's not like a super high.
Oh no, I'm just saying, 1st round is a whole nother story, but that's good value. That question wasn't asked to me, so sorry for interrupting.
Perkins was projected. If he would have went last year, it probably would have been an early 2nd round pick.
But listen, I don't mind that. I don't mind that as 3rd, but if I'm not mistaken, we have 3 threes, don't we?
Yeah. So our
2 or 3.
Our 3rd rounders right now are projected to be
Dallas
Isaiah World, one of the tackles out of Oregon, 6'8", 312. The corner, a little shorter. I don't necessarily want him. I want Pons in the 2nd. But Chandler Rivers out of Duke had his draft stock bump up a little bit. He's 5'8" or 5'10", 180, not 5'8", 5'10", 180. He's not terrible. I actually liked his tape a little bit.
So
and then Harold Perkins.
So you got Perkins and Pons, right?
Yeah, I have a ton of stock in D'Angelo Pons. I think Pons is amazing.
Got it. Really quick, who do you guys envision drafting in the 1st round if that's the case? Because I'm just thinking out loud here. I think the Steelers need a little oomph on offense. If you ask me. Oh, that'd be amazing. That'd be fucking incredible.
Makai, if he does not fall there, I would like KC Concepcion, or the third best option is Denzel Boston. I don't necessarily want Denzel Boston, but it's one of those 3: Makai, KC.
And would you prefer Pons be an interior, not interior necessarily, but more of a slot corner, and then you bump Porter out to be on the X of the Z?
So when Jalen Ramsey effectively got benched, moved to safety.
Yeah.
Joey was guarding ones, and even then, he was one of the best man coverage corners in the league. He let up the 2nd lowest amount of yards. He didn't let up a touchdown all year.
Yep.
Porter can very clearly guard the number 1 option on most teams,
especially with that pass rush.
Yes, I don't have an issue with that. D'Angelo Pons would be your inside guy, because I'm going to be honest, Coach, I don't know how much faith you have in him. I'm not super high on our inside. Oh, bro, what's his name? Shit, I just had it in my head, lost it. It's not Dante Kent. It's not Corey Trice.
Oh, the guy who let up the touchdown is Zay Flowers. I know exactly who you're talking about.
You talking about Smith?
Nah.
You talking the fuck? Why I can't think of his name.
What is our fucking slot corner's name? Hold on.
Nichols?
No, not Eccles.
Eccles? Wasn't it Asante Samuel?
You guys keep thinking of that, but Swag, I don't know where you guys stand on this.
James Pierre.
Setting up a date or a time to be able to really dig in and go through these 2nd, but 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That's the bread and butter. That's the wheelhouse. That to me is what make or breaks teams. And everybody's like, 1st round's important. No shit. I know the 1st round's important, but there's that need. There's that dig deep and figure out who the hell you want. Then you're starting to get into character and all that stuff. Like, I would love to link up with Cody and then try and figure out. Now, to some people, it will be boring as shit. If you are not a nerd of the game of football, you're going to be like, why are we talking about this guy who played here and transferred here? But for anybody who's a nerd of the game, if you're interested in that, shoot me a DM. Cody, shoot me a DM if you're, because I would love to deep dive into that shit at some point.
Yeah, find the diamonds in the rough is all
too.
about.
Look, guys, y'all put it together, and we'll spotlight this on one of the Friday shows. Just put it together. I mean, they got to just tell me. I spotlight this. This is the off season, guys. I mean, so I have a lot of material myself, but the truth of the matter is you guys' material too. That counts for this show. This is the Swaghollic show. It ain't got nothing to do with me. It's you guys' show. That's how I did it.
Appreciate that. Appreciate the format.
I mean, so I want you guys to come on here and give me ideas and throw me. Different JB is gonna stand behind me and he's gonna put the shit out there. So all you guys gotta do is just.
So really quick, I figured, if the floors are, so to speak, and we kind of just provide material, topics, you name it. I'm here looking at this draft board. We all know this is the worst QB class since 2022. We can all agree on that.
This quarterback class is pretty mediocre at best.
Yes, it
really
is.
quick,
Yes, it is.
and
all
we
projects.
will all agree that with 11 new head coaches, new GMs, and the first things first with a new blueprint, you want to add a quarterback. I'm struggling to imagine any scenario where any team trades up for the likes of Ty Simpson or any other QB. Do you guys do you guys have any draft day trades in mind? I mean, maybe I see like a team trading down, like a little Josh Rosen effect, like the Cardinals did in 2019.
Oh, I feel like a lot of people will trade down.
Listen, the only quarterback anybody's going to make a move for, the only quarterback anybody would make a move for would be Mendoza. That's it. Everybody else, they're going to let them fall where they fall.
That thing was
So kind of trying to pivot a little bit. What free agency splashes do you guys see with quarterbacks and coordinators? I see Malik Willis going to the Dolphins personally. What do y'all think?
Oh, Yanks, we're gonna do a full free agency show, brother. Really, you want to be here for all this? Let me explain. Yanks, it's your first time. First of all, number one, thank you so much for coming on here and knowing what you're talking about. We're gonna jump into a free agent show. If you join the show every morning, 9 a.m. Central Time, believe me, I'm gonna be talking about all this stuff during the off season. Because JB, Coach Coleman, all Mr. Casey, all these guys know I don't give a shit about a like. I don't give a shit about a follow. I want to talk about football.
Let's go.
I mean, like so if people are nerds to the game, like Tim say, if you're a nerd to the game, you want to be on this show during the off season. I'm telling you. By the way,
I will be here. Yeah, perfect.
It's going to lead into the season. We do training camp. We're going to do the draft. I'm sure JB and them are doing something on the Live Move podcast for the live draft show. All that stuff, we're going to have all this stuff going on. But first of all, let me just thank, number one, as I ease to the end of this, let me thank Kodys for doing this show. Kodys he's been on me about this show for longer. He did a hell of a freaking job. I listened to most of it. And like I say, I really, really appreciate him for doing that. Second of all, Tim, JB, and all you guys that got on here, and A-Train, all you guys that were on here supporting him and helping him out. I appreciate that.
I appreciate all y'all for coming, man.
I mean, like it was really a good show. I enjoyed it. I know it wasn't for it wasn't for the social media show because it is about real intense, in-depth football. So most people don't want to hear that. They just want to talk shit. So and that's okay. That's a platform for that too. But I'm just gonna say this: look out for the Monday show. Let me explain something to y'all. Please tell everybody about it. We know, me and JB talked about this. We know this year that just passed, on my show, on JB's show, on shows all over freaking TikTok, we had a lot of people saying a lot of outlandish shit. And we're gonna call them receipts for y'all Monday. Monday, we're gonna go down memory lane.
We bringing up good and bad receipts?
Good and bad receipts.
Because I got one that I said that I want to bring up on Monday.
It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna bring up receipts, and even I made some predictions that wasn't right. I mean, but I'm talking about some people just took it to the extreme, like Jacksonville fans, the Giants fans.
like me getting laughed at for saying Denver's going to win the division by somebody else on this panel.
Yeah. All of us said Sam Darnold was going to be trash can. Everybody said Sam Darnold was going to be not good.
I got called a word I can't necessarily say in other panels because I said the Colts aren't anything without Jonathan Taylor in that run game.
I mean, so we're gonna look. I'm telling y'all, we're gonna jump into this, and yes, it's gonna be people calling me out on receipts too, and I love it. I have no problem with that. But that's what the Monday show is about. There is no show, unfortunately, guys, for Saturday and Sunday. But Monday morning at 9 a.m., we're gonna be ready. But however, just because it's not a swag show for Saturday and Sunday, it is a Not Move podcast every day, all day, 24/7. And then you ain't never got to worry about not some of them talking about sports in some kind of way. Like, so I advise y'all to move on over there. You also have other shows too, like Buck Nation, Guru. There's a lot of shows out there that we do, but if y'all don't mind, if Brianna does a show, if y'all don't mind, jump on the Not Move podcast, but they do produce this show, and I love them for doing that. So I'm just gonna say this. Thank all you guys for running this show today. I couldn't be on here like I normally am on here, but come Monday, I'm telling y'all right now, and I don't normally say stuff like this, but I'm gonna bring this shit Monday. I'm just telling you right now. And yes, y'all should bring it to me too, because I'm sure y'all have receipts on me as well. But I'm gonna bring this shit on some of the receipts and some of the beating I took all year long for telling people the truth about their damn team. I'm gonna be ready for this show. So in other words, listen, I appreciate all you guys. Thank y'all so much. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all Monday morning. Joe's freaking answer the phone when I call you. This is Swag.
This non-casual podcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without the authorized written consent of the Not Move Podcast Network. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.